Hello and welcome to Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures on what is quite a brisk evening actually here on my allotment. And I've been asked to give a few tips because it's going to get colder. And what do we do with the plants when it gets cold? Well, of course, plants and seeds are like humans, aren't they? We like a little bit of warmth. And if you're thinking of planting seeds, well, sowing seeds anywhere, then it's always good to warm the soil first, even in buckets and tubs and on your balconies, verandas, wherever you grow, you need to warm your soil up. Obviously, if you've got that inside space and you're not growing that much, then you can keep them inside for a few days just to warm the soil through. And that'd be absolutely fantastic. They'd absolutely love that. You can plant all sorts at this time of year, believe it or not. And well, I've got a couple of seed packets here and I've got some carrots and they can easily go out now. But as I said, they do like a nice warm soil to get them germinating. And well, you can do it in several ways actually. How do you warm the soil? Well, you cover it for a start. I've got some fleece here in the background. This is just lovely see-through fleece. This allows water to penetrate through. You can put several layers on that. I've got some leeks here and I've got some garlic growing. In fact, I've got some garlic bulbs ready to go in. It's still the time you can put garlic in and they'll come up nicely. So you can pop those in and cover them up when it gets really, really cold. Although these have survived the whole winter so far. And garlic do like a little bit of cold, and so do leeks, believe it or not. So they're not doing too bad at this time of year. Let me pop that back over here. As I say, now's the time you can still start sowing. You can also cover the ground with well, this is really heavy duty weed suppressant actually, and it doesn't let the water through, but it will help warm the soil. You can use old carpets. Cardboard's very good as well if you've got small areas. Obviously cardboard, you've got to make sure it's fastened down in some way. But as I say, depending where you go, I'm lucky I've got quite a large allotment, and so I've got mine covered up at the moment with a combination of carpet, fleeces, and this sort of stuff as well. So it's just warming the soil. Now, what can you put in that soil and what will survive? Well, I've got some carrots here. I've got some like orbital carrots, and they're nice and round, and they'll grow in anything. They don't need much soil. What they do need is protecting from the carrot fly. And all you need to do is get some of this sort of fleece and pop it around, build a little frame, even this tall, around the base. So here, that's your base, and make sure it covers up because they do love a good carrot, and that will protect your carrot seeds as they appear. Once you've got them out the ground, once they've germinated, 10 to 14 days, they should start coming up. You can thin them out, but that's the moment where the carrot fly can then smell the carrots, so be really, really careful. And then, of course, you can plant, this is red cabbage. You can actually sow this straight away outdoors. I've done mine actually inside at the moment in trays in my greenhouse. Again, give it a little bit of warmth to get it, encourage it to germinate. And then I've got some tomatoes. I've got lots and lots of tomatoes in. These ones are beefsteak tomatoes. They can be sown inside now. So if you've got a windowsill, then they're really good. Get them on the windowsill, get them covered up with a little bit of plastic, or even this stuff, you can put into a plastic bag. They like light and heat. And not too much light though, because obviously that's how they'll shoot up. And well, we don't want leggy tomatoes, do we? Yep, you can sow anything this time of year. I hope that's helped. Don't be afraid. I've got all sorts of plants out here actually. I've got, as I say, onions and leeks. I've got lots of herbs, and they're just surviving the cold. So you can cover them at night. But I do hope you enjoy growing. One last tip. It's now time also to sow or plant your seed potatoes. These have been chitting, which basically means they've been laid on the side for a few weeks now, and they've started to put shoots out. These are my early varieties. They can actually grow in the ground now. I've got a couple of these actually in a little grow bag, and I've put 3 in there, covered them with soil, put a bit of manure soil in the bottom, so encourage their roots to go down. And then as they come through the soil, then you can, well, keep topping it up. Earthing it up is the terminology. There are many other ways you can protect your plants by putting cloches over them. You can make them yourself. This one behind me here is made from an old clothes frame, and I've just wrapped some netting around it. And believe it or not, even this amount here will just help to keep the warmth in it a little bit. It doesn't need much. And obviously when the snow comes, it will hold on to it, but we don't get that much snow in this country, so I can come and knock it off anyway. And we'll just, obviously when it melts, it'll just melt right through because it's a netting. Here you can buy things like this. This is obviously ready-made, but this is a really old one. And what's funny is over the years, they do rot and they do just disintegrate. And this now is full of holes. it's just got the webbing now, and so it's not actually weatherproof, but it will still create a little environment inside and a little microclimate. So I'm going to put this over my strawberries, and fingers crossed they'll survive the snow if we do get it. Obviously, you can just lay fleeces, like I said in the other little video, and put carpets down, all those things to try and protect your plants. But if they're really, really vulnerable and you've got them in pots, then pop them inside. It really will help. And well, I'm going to wrap up my blueberry plant actually with some fleece, because that's very, very delicate. Unlike the raspberry plant and the gooseberry bush, they're really established, quite thick stems, whereas it's a bit willowy, and we need to look after that, because if the temperatures really drop, then that's going to be wrapped up in lovely fleece and be nice and warm. Lucky thing. It's early days with some of the seeds that I've sown, but there are a few coming up. So, well, the lettuce, that's coming up nicely, and here's a photograph of the lettuce. And my purple sprouting broccoli is finally happening. Here's a photograph of those. And then we've got lots of other things, I think, over here under the fleece. And here's a photograph. I've actually got fleece inside of the greenhouse. And over here we have some onion seeds coming, which is fantastic. And yes, I've got some sprouts. Isn't that brilliant? So things are starting to happen very slowly, but that's fine. We've had a little bit of better weather, but it's still very, very cold. Yeah, onions coming up. Isn't that amazing? My seeds are happening. They're very, very slim though. Have a look at this picture. You can just about make out the white shoot coming, and they're going to be onions. I love it when it starts pushing through the soil. It's just magical that that little seed decides to come to life and grow into something, hopefully, that I can eat later in the year. And it is an excitement. It's about waiting. I'm having a go at turmeric again. I put it into a pot. It's in here behind me. And so fingers crossed, we have better luck with our turmeric. Didn't have much success last year. Maybe it wasn't warm enough and I didn't start it soon enough. So I'm going to look after that this year. Fingers crossed we get some nice turmeric. Now, I'm often asked, how do you make compost? Well, if you haven't got lots of space and lots of room and big compost bins, I mean, I'm lucky. I've got my compost bins that I've made. I've also got 3 other compost bins. They are the plastic ones, and they've got the stuff in that I want really to rot down over years, that are quite twiggy and barky. They're in there, and they'll all get mixed up, and they do fine, but it takes 2 or 3 years actually to get them down to compostable material. If you want a really good way of making compost and you've only got a small area, maybe you haven't got an outside space, a balcony, this is the bag that my potatoes came in, not the ones that I've had to buy for food, but in here I've got all the lovely cuttings. So I've got my cucumbers, well, there's cucumber actually. I've got cabbages and carrots and potato peelings, paper. I've got tea bags galore, and what you do is pop it in here. In fact, there's a tea bag just to show you that I wasn't. And every so often, just fasten it up, and it'll create a little microclimate in there, and it'll get quite warm actually. And every so often, take it, give it a lovely shake, make sure it's all mixed together, all that lovely gooey mass that you'll get eventually. And then slowly, over the next few weeks, months, then that'll turn into lovely, usable compost. I mean, you could actually eventually, because this is sealed, you'll get some juices in there. Chop the end off, put it into a little pot, dilute it down and water your plants with it. And you've got some beautiful, lovely juice. But we'll leave that as an experiment. I'll keep an eye on that. I'll pop it here, just in here. And I could actually, if I wanted to, cheat. I'll pop a little hole in there. There you go. And I could pop it here, behind me, in here, because this is heated in here. I've got a little heater in, and that will help the process carry on a lot quicker. My next task before the next show is to sort this out. This is the old, well, I've moved it, haven't I, my frame. In there, as you can see, are lots and lots of, well, compostable materials, and it's mainly from the rabbits, but it's got all sorts in there. I'm going to put it into rows on either side and then dig it into the ground, and hopefully in here, I may even start putting some carrots out. Yes, how exciting is that? And tomatoes and cucumbers in here, because I never had this area grown in at all over the last 3 or 4 years. So all that lovely material will go into the ground. Once again, thank you very much for watching Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures. It's great to have you all on board, and especially to the new subscribers, welcome one and all. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and I hope you don't have the severe weather that we're going to get over the next few weeks here in the UK. And well, if we do, we do. And we've had lots of rain, but the ground needs it. The plants do enjoy it, actually, the rain. But we don't like the white stuff, really. It freezes the ground that we're trying to keep warm. See you next time here on Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures. Ta-ra for now.